That whole microphone thing should be good now. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for letting me know about the audio. Welcome to the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. This is an amateur radio net provided by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club and the Pharmacy Seeds Network here, streamed to you on YouTube. Thank you for everyone who joined, YTFP, Cha-Cha, Geeky Gardens, Titan, and anyone I've missed. Glad you guys are here. Thanks for coming along. I'm running a little late, so I'm going to go ahead and start this right up. This is KD2 net control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. The Sunday Night All Things Natural Net is an amateur radio net provided to you by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. This net is dedicated primarily to farming, gardening, and ecology, but the scope of those topics tends to go wider than that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get the net started. If there are any check-ins, please call now. Amateur schmamateur. Ah, thanks, Cha-Cha. I don't know if I'm quite pro yet. But.
KD2, TQS, Ken.
All right, very good. The net recognizes KD2, TQS. Ken, how are you this evening?
This is
KD2, QAK. No, KD2, UEN. I know who that is.
standing by for net control.
Yeah, I heard a this is, but then I didn't hear the call sign afterward. I think that was KD2UEN Bill. So let's just give it another shot here. If there are any further check-ins, please call now.
This is KD2UEN. Sorry about that, CJ. I twisted the dial on my microphone cable here.
Yeah, right here where I injured it. No worries. I kind of suspected you might have bumped off frequency or pulled a mic cable out or something. Welcome to the net, Bill. Alright, we'll roll back to the top of the list for now, and then we'll go back and check for check-ins after we do a primary run-through. Let's start at the top of the list with KD2 TQS. Ken, how are you this evening?
KD2 TQS. Fine fall evening, cool, crisp. Hear the peepers ever so weakly there. Dry, back porch, net has started. Life is good. Back to net.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're finding a way to enjoy it. I am not so enthusiastic about the cold, although there are a few benefits. It definitely is nice to be starting the greenhouse furnace back up and go in there where it's cozy. On the flip side, there's lots of other things to manage this time of year, and I'm not a fan of the cold, but I'm glad you're enjoying a nice cup of chai on the back porch and here on the net. So let's roll on down to Bill and welcome him. KD2UEN. Bill, how are you this evening?
Hey, CJ. Sorry about the little mishap there. Yeah, we're doing as well as can be expected for an old guy that was picking shoveling all day. I think I mentioned that earlier. I don't know what my friend chose this spot, and certainly had the sun shining, but let me tell you what, they had a commercial tiller that he rented, and it wouldn't even touch the ground. It just kind of rolled right across the top of the ground like it was concrete. So we had a heck of a day, but it's a good pain that I have in my back. You know, I accomplished a little something there, so feel good about that. But I had a question on the nettles. I've always drank nettle tea, but I usually get the dry stuff at the health food store, and I just like the taste of nettles. But I do notice a little bit of a change with my ragweed problem, as I have the sniffles and the sneezes, and I started drinking more of it, and actually tripled things up a little bit, and it seems to be working. What is it that's in the nettles that works against the allergy thing?
All right, excellent question. Very interesting about the area that your friend is starting a garden in. Yeah, we'll have to dig into that topic a little more, so to speak. On the nettles, it would be easier to answer what isn't in it, really. Nettles are loaded with all sorts of plant hormones, as well as the full trace mineral set: manganese, zinc, iron, copper, molybdenum. All those trace minerals. I can't speak specifically to the compounds from a scientific standpoint, because I just don't know that much science about nettles. But I know that they are an excellent tool both for human health from a trace mineral nutrition standpoint, as well as the chlorophyll standpoint. They're very high in chlorophyll, and also they contain a lot of compounds that are actually called androgenic compounds. Androgenic compounds are basically hormone regulating compounds, and instead of working like I know a lot of people are starting to take testosterone as they reach into their 40s as a supplement, and the problem with that is that testosterone is regulated in part by how much is in the bloodstream, and how it's a very complex process. But when you start adding like an unnatural hormone to it, your body deregulates how much it produces, and so this becomes sort of like a thermal runaway concept. Well, nettles and androgenic compounds like nettles, including especially pine pollen, are very good at regulating hormones naturally, and they support that hormone production and regulation through very available trace mineral nutrition. So in essence, that's kind of what it boils down to. So I'll put it back to you, because I don't know if you might have more questions or want to go further with the conversation, but I'll put it back to you. This is KD2IIN, Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Iron, yes, iron and IIRC.
Quick comment. You mentioned pine cones?
No, pine pollen. Pine pollen. We can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, we'll see. We could put it back to Ken, and then I'd be interested to find out about pine pollen. I mean, I have actually eaten
if I remember correctly,
pine nuts before. I don't know about the pine pollen. Is that in the pine nut?
No, the pine pollen is what you would get before a pine tree developed pine cones, which you would harvest pine nuts from. And my understanding on the pine nuts is those are harvested from a specific type of pine tree, not native to our area. But the pollen I'm talking about is pine pollen from the white pine tree, which actually has a tremendous amount of beneficial stuff. So we'll come back to that and include that in our conversation. But for now, let's just take a pause here and see if there's any further check-ins before we roll back to the top of the list. And then I'm sure Ken has some interesting and excellent information regarding this as well. This is KD2IIN, Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Looking for any further check-ins, please call now. Welcome, Jarvis.
Buzz here, CJ. Did you?
Okay, I have KD2UEP, and I think there was a double there. If there's another station there, please put your call out now. Okay, no further check-ins. KD2UEP, how are you tonight, Mom?
I'm good. I didn't think I was going to get on here, but I heard the end of the nettle conversation, and I just shared all this with Dad the other night concerning all the nutrients in nettles, and there's a list here I'd like to read briefly. Nettle is high in chromium, cobalt, iron, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, copper, sulfur, B-complex vitamins, thiamine, riboflavin, and the carotenes measured as vitamin A. Niacin, protein, manganese, selenium, silicon, vitamin C, vitamin D, and K. It's an infusion that stabilizes blood sugar, resets metabolic circles to normalize weight, reduce fatigue, exhaustion, restore adrenal potency, and lessen allergenic problems, eliminate chronic headaches, preventative for those with a hereditary susceptibility to rheumatic complaints. Drop. Okay, that's my little list. I got other things to do, but I just had to say that. Back to you.
Thank you, Mom. It's been a while since I went back and researched nettles specifically. So there you go, Bill, and anyone listening here on YouTube who is interested in nettles. And that's just the human health side of it, and trace mineral nutrition and hormone regulation side of it. And there's a whole nother side of it as far as plant health and soil health and a whole bunch of other cool things. That plant is a super plant for sure. So thanks for adding that to the net, Mom, and we'll consider you secured from the net so that you don't have to hang around. But thanks for chipping in that information. I appreciate it. All right, let's just do one more pause for check-ins, and then we'll roll back to the top of the list. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. Good call, YT. Bomber, welcome. Gemini, welcome. All right, no further check-ins. We're going to roll back to the top of the list now. KD2 TQS, Ken.
KD2 TQS. Still resisting yours to say, wait a minute, I missed item number 5. Could you read me the whole list again? But I won't. Drop and I'll be back. Going to take a little liberty on Bill's request. The way I heard that question sounds like he's coming from the allopathic or Western medicine model. What is in it that fights this problem? Or what is this chemical that resists the allergy process? And most botanicals do not work on the allopathic model because it's not taking an antihistamine. It's not one element that turns around and blocks the histamines in your body from acting. As you said, it's an adrenergic. It works on many, many pathways. What botanicals typically do is restore multiple pathways and bring them up to full efficiency. Drop. In particular, the adrenals are involved, are improved from the thistle. Adrenals are one stage, one step of the endocrine system, and every step is related to every other step, organ system of the endocrine system. When I train with the endocrinologist, as he says, if you have one endocrine problem, look for the others. They're there. There cannot be one in isolation.
Right.
The immune system is intimately linked and integrated into the endocrine system as well. So if you boost one system, you inherently bring the others back online. Drop.
Sending it home
So
with the
it's a philosophical question of the approach. It's not this chemical fighting that one. It's the sum of all of them aiding the whole body, bringing it back to health. That's all. Back to net.
Fantastic, Ken. That was an excellent, very well compressed and well spoken way of putting it. Yeah. So the endocrine system and human health in general. Each of these systems. In Western medicine, we tend to try and isolate one thing and narrow it down to what's the one thing. But anytime you take one thing out of an operating system and try to look at it isolated, you're not looking at the system as a whole, and so you're ignoring a bunch of factors, and most of those are the more important factors because there's no one thing that's really important. It's the combination of them all working together, and that same concept applies to all plants, animals, and humans. And so when we work with soils and plant health, we have the same concept in mind. And while we're on talking about endocrine systems, let's just stop and consider that most pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides are endocrine disruptors. And so when you consider that, and that's in mass in our food supply, no wonder everyone is so sick. So thank you, Ken, for weighing in on that, and thanks for that excellent information. And we're going to roll on down to Bill, KD2UEN.
KD2UEN, Bill.
Wow, is he loud?
Thank you, Ken. That was a very good explanation. What a breakdown.
Awesome, Jen. Cook
really
something up for me.
That. I've been drinking the dry nettle tea. You
yeah,
used to have a cup every
videos,
day. From a long time ago, I used to go to this place called the Swissette Herb Farm. It was in Salisbury Mills, Mount Lodge area, and the lady there was from Switzerland, and she would make teas up,
Frank
and I
Cook,
used to
I'll
just
check
go
it
in
out.
there to get the tea. She always had something different mixed up, and I really liked the nettles, and sometimes I added to other things. I had some passion flower and a few other little things that I add the tea to, and plus I used some saw palmetto, which is kind of yucky, so I add that to it and make a tea. And I've tried tripling it up now with allergy season. It seems to work, but I'm only taking using the dried leaves. That's all I have right now available to me. But it's interesting to find out, just what's making it tick. I've always just liked the flavor of it. All right, so back to you, CJ.
All right, very good. And I know you wanted to talk about pine pollen a little bit. Pine pollen has many of the same effects and many of the same vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and other polyphenols and flavonoids, plant compounds, that nettles does. And in fact, I suppose we should stop here. And nettles are great, but if you're looking to particularly help regulate androgenic stuff, and this goes for most flowering fruiting plants, the place to get more concentrated versions of that is usually in the flowering fruiting part of the plant, or the root or the tuber of the plant. Nettles are a great example of this, because nettles, if you take the seeds from nettles, those are very concentrated form of the same tea and the same synergistic medicine you're getting from the nettle tea from the leaves. Those flowering and seed parts of the plant are very much like that, and that relates very much and very easily over to pine pollen, which obviously is part of the reproductive part of the plant as well. And pine pollen, you can actually capture it in the spring. It's easiest to catch it before the pollen opens up. This is a very short period of time that you can catch it in. But if you catch it before the pollen opens up, you can collect those little pollen. They look like little. They almost look like Christmas decorations, little balls, right? And they haven't opened yet. When they open, they explode into that white-yellow pollen dust that goes everywhere. And of course, it's very hard to clean up and mop up the pollen dust to try and save it. But if you catch it before they open, you can take those, you catch them like the day before they open. You take them and you put them in the freezer. They open in the freezer, and then you can capture the pollen out of them without having to chase after pollen dust. There's more information on this if you go onto YouTube and look up Arthur Haynes, The Benefits of Pine Pollen. He goes very deep into the benefits of it, and Arthur Haynes is a plant taxonomist, for those who don't know, and he's written several books now, I think, on wild plant medicines and all sorts of awesome information like that. So I'll just mention that on my way through, and then we're going to take a pause here and make another opportunity for check-ins. One sec. This is KD2IIN Net Control. Looking for any further check-ins, please call now. You can scrape it off if you want. I wouldn't put it in tea, I'd just eat it raw. Alright, no further check-ins recognized at this time. We're going to roll back to the top list. KD2, TQS, Ken.
KD2, on the one hand, nothing specific. On the other hand, lots of things running around in there, but unless I can make it specific, it's not concise, and that's not polite. So, nothing further at the moment. Pass it on and go from there. Back to them.
Alright, very good, Ken. And I'll push this back down to Bill here, and I'm sure Bill has additional questions after my little soapbox spout there, so we'll put it back to KD2UEN.
Yeah, thanks, CJ. The pine pollen, is that on there's usually, like with the white pine, I think it's 5 needles on each frond. Where is this located, this pod with the pollen? I don't believe I've ever seen it. I mean, we have dogwoods, and I eat the buds off the dogwoods, which are pretty sweet. They're good tasting.
Oh, I've never tried that.
But I just do that because I like the buds. But I've never seen it on the pine tree, and I got a huge white pine right across the street from my house.
All right, yeah. So they're out on the ends of the branches. If you look,
Right across the street.
basically late May to early June. Usually, again, it depends on the weather. You know, if it warms up early, then they'll come out early. But if you keep a close eye on them, you'll see little yellow buds start to form, and then those will turn into this yellow ball. And then if you miss it, that yellow ball opens up, and that's when everybody, you know, cries and moans about pine pollen on their vehicles. But if you capture that stuff, and you can just eat it as a powder, and it doesn't take much at all. It's very high in vitamins A, B, C, and D, and a whole bunch of other plant compounds very similar to nettles. So that's the thing to look for. And again, boy, I don't think I have your email, but if I had your email, I would shoot you a link to the Arthur Haynes video. But if you just look on YouTube, Arthur Haynes pine pollen, I'm sure you'll find it. And he gives an excellent, I think it's like maybe a 10 or 15 minute talk. And he talks about, you know, he shows video, shows, you know, what they look like, talks about the benefits of it, talks about how to harvest it and how to capture it and dry it and freeze it and store it for use throughout the year and all that sort of thing. He's very focused on wild foraging and on native medicinal plants. So excellent guy to pay attention to and follow. So I'll just put it back to you for any further questions, and then we'll do another look opportunity for check-ins. Look up.
Yeah, that's good news. I'll check him out on YouTube. I watch a couple of people on YouTube. One of them, I can't think of his name right now. He's a young fellow from Pennsylvania. He does a lot of mushroom stuff. But I didn't know about the pine pollen, and you know, I've always had the pine nuts. I get them from out west when they come in, and they're pretty tasty. The little pine nuts. Sometimes you can get them up at Mother Earth up there in Kingston. But I'll look that up. Thank you for that information.
Very good, very good. Yeah, the pine nuts. I've never had the pine nuts by themselves because they're pretty expensive, as I recall. But I've used them in a pesto, and I have to say, I think those and walnuts are my two favorite nuts to use in a basil pesto. And I think those trump the walnuts by a lot, even still. And I'm a huge walnut fan, so yeah, they're excellent. I think the other channel you're talking about, who does mushrooms out of Pennsylvania, that's Learn Your Land. Yeah, he's got an excellent channel, and he has really good information. So yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, let's just do an opportunity here for check-ins, and then we'll rotate back through the list. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Looking for any further check-ins, please call now. I look down and somebody's throwing guns in the fire over here. All right, no further check-ins recognized at this time. We're going to roll back to the top list to KD2 TQS. Should dry them first, yes, Bomber.
Perspective on pine pollen. I was doing a photo shoot one day, and I couldn't figure out why the exposure is different, and why the focus was out of focus, and everything else. And I did like 3-4 shots back to back, and I go,
all over the lens.
This one is fine. this one 10 seconds later, it's out of focus. It's all blurry. It's all grainy. Looked again, and the same thing happened. The trees were releasing the pollen at the time. So on the first shot with the model, there was nothing. But then the wind came through on the second one. You can see it in the picture that there's this fog of dust passing through. So that says how much it releases very, very quickly. That's all. Back to now.
can. Yeah, it's pretty sudden when it lets go. It's amazing. I grew up in I grew up in this area. I've been around white pine trees all my life. All times of the year, and as much time as I spent around them until I came across Arthur Haynes and learned about the pine pollen thing and some of the other medicinal benefits of the pine tree, I never really paid that close attention. And since I have paid close attention, it's really amazing. My friend and I have tried to capture pine pollen a couple of years, and some years successfully, and some years it just like we check it one day and it's like, okay, one more day. And then, if you miss a day, boy, it's gone. Boof, it's open and it's everywhere. It's like you come out and you see the yellow dust. It's like, we missed that window. So it can be frustrating, but excellent stuff. You can also get it online. There's a company that's also run by Arthur Haynes and Daniel Vitalis. It's called Surthrival, Surthrival, surthrival.com. And they sell pine pollen and AK berry and all sorts of like wild forage stuff, including colostrum, which is an excellent tool for health as well. So let's see, I guess we'll just put it back to Bill. KD2UEN.
Yeah, thank you, CJ. KD2UEN ID. I've also heard that I guess the Iroquois, or a certain branch of the Iroquois, used to eat the inner bark of the white pine, and also made a tea out of the needles.
Yep.
I tried the tea. I wasn't that crazy about it. I had pulled some needles off, but it's fascinating what you can do with what's around you. Even there's a plant that Xena eats. It's poisonous if you eat the leaves or the bulb, but if you eat the stalk, the Italian people call it carduna. It grows out in cow pastures, and it looks like rhubarb. Big leaf on it, and she's made it for me. I mean, I'm not all that crazy about it. It's a little on the tough side, but it's tasty. You got to cook it twice. You do a second
I know what that is. That's pokeweed.
But as long as you don't eat the leaves and you just eat the stalk, you get sick.
Okay, I think the thing you're referring to, at least it sounds to me like something that's also commonly referred to as pokeweed. Later in the season, that gets these big purple berries that look enticingly like grapes and are super, super poisonous. And no matter how many times you cook them, you can't eat them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one that you double cook and you can eat it. And I thought you could eat the leaves too by doing that, but obviously you have to be very careful, make sure your preparation is correct. That goes for a lot of things in nature that are available plant foods, but you have to know how to use them and you have to know how to process them. Acorns, for example, you can make a flour from acorns that actually is excellent tasting, makes excellent tasting cookies and breads and all kinds of stuff. But you can't just make it from the acorn. You have to leach those acorns, I think, for 3 days in water, where you submerge them in water, you let them soak overnight, you leach that off, you replace the water again, and you do that multiple times. And you're leaching off the tannins and the compounds that would normally make us sick. And once you leach those out, then you can take them and dry them and grind them down to a flour, and they make an excellent flour. Same thing with the pine bark. The Native Americans use the inside of the pine bark, the not the outside part, but the inside. I think that's called the cambium. And they would peel that off in strips. They would harvest it in the springtime when you could peel it off easily, and then they would take that inner part of the bark out. They would let that dry and grind that into a powder and cook with it. Yes, you can also use the needles. I'll drop. You can also use the needles in a tea. That's very high in vitamin C, and in fact, that's how the explorer Hudson, I can't remember his first name, that when they got stuck up in Hudson Bay, that was how they survived without getting scurvy, from my understanding. So yeah, lots of medicinal benefits to that, to those plants. Let's see. Let's just take an opportunity for check-ins here.
Between, say, 6
and 100 feet. And every year, I've only been here a few years, granted, the entire place gets just covered with the yellow pollen. So I'm going to look out for it this year and see if I can harvest it, because that sounds really amazing, and I got a lot of it. So, and I just came in at that part of the conversation, but I just wanted to say that. Really interesting, and thanks for talking about that.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you found us here on the 805 machine, and pine is a really cool tree. Has a lot of purposes, both for fire and for human health and food and medicine. So glad you came in, and glad you have a bunch of them around. I have a bunch of gigantic tall ones here myself, and the downside of that is, how do you get up there to get to the pollen? We found ourselves on ladders on, getting up to the low branches, but I wish we had some shorter ones here, so we'll have to scout around and see if we can find something with some branches on the lower end of things. Those pollen sacs come out on the tips of the branches, so if you get branches that have lots of pine needles on them, those are the ones that are most likely to have lots of pollen sacs on them in that early to mid to late spring season. My non-specific spring. Let's just see if I missed anybody here, and then we'll roll back to the top of the list. This is KD2IIN Net Control for Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Looking for any further check-ins, please call now. All right, no further check-ins recognized. We'll roll back to the top of the list. KD2TQS, Ken.
KD2TQS. One way to get the pollen is through a passive harvest. If you take a Ziploc bag, or better yet, a paper bag, and put it over the end of the branch and secure it off lightly around the base of it, when it pollinates, that'll pop open, you'll have caught all of the stuff. If you can do it with paper, it's better, because if you leave a plastic bag on, you have to take it off regularly, because the transpiration of the tree will fog up the bag, and there'll be a lot of moisture in there, and that moisture will make extraction of the pollen more difficult. You want to change that about every day or so. But those are a couple good techniques to put on to have a passive trap to catch it. KD2TQS back to now.
Yep, that'll work. That'll catch a fairly small amount, but it's an option. And your point about the plastic accumulating moisture is so true. Actually, I've seen people, they're trying to dry herbs, and they think they're mostly dry, so they put them into a plastic bag, and then they aren't completely dry, and then that moisture condensates and it ruins the whole batch. So the paper bag is a great way to give things a chance to really dry out. We also use that in doing controlled pollination for doing crossbreeding and selection and that sort of stuff. Let's see. Let's roll on down to Bill. KD2UEN.
First I'd like to welcome Dan. We talked. I was his first contact, and I'm a new ham myself, so it was pretty cool. Welcome to the nets. These are really fun nets, and I talk on them every day now. It's addicting. And also, thank you for the idea on the paper bags, because I think I'll probably try that. The only thing is, it's the end of the summer. Am I correct when they pollinate?
No. It's springtime. Usually late May, mid to late May. End of summer, you can collect pine cones, and you might be able to pull some pine seeds out of those, or pine nuts. But no, it's springtime.
Okay, thank you on the springtime. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. I think next year I'll put some paper bags out, and maybe
I was telling you,
rubber band them or tie them off, and let the wind shake them loose for a day or two, as long as I don't see any rain in the forecast. Thank you for that.
All right, very good. You're very welcome. And you can. I think I mentioned it also before. You can also get it online. It's not too expensive, considering how much work is actually involved in harvesting a large amount of pine pollen. But anyway, this is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. We're going to roll on down the list to KD2UPY. Dan, I didn't realize you were a new license. I guess I should have by your call sign, so congratulations on that as well.
Hey, thanks. And I'm going for my general on the 26th, and I don't know. We'll see. I'm doing okay on the test. It's up and down, though. Yeah, my pine trees, my white pines, I've climbed up a lot of them. They have branches almost to the ground, and they're really wide.
Nice.
It's easy to get up near the top. It's not easy to get to the ends of the branches, though, admittedly. But I'm gonna try to figure something out in the spring.
Fantastic. I'll be curious to hear more about that and how much success you had with it. Yeah, it's kind of a fun process, but yeah, it's might be easy to get up the tree, but it's hard to get out to the end, like you say. And it sounds like you've climbed a few pine trees, so you know how tricky that can be too. They're not quite as strong branched as some other trees. I always keep at least three branches under me, you know, one under a foot and one separate branch for each hand, because when one lets go, you definitely want at least two to catch you. So yeah. All right, let's just pause to see if there's any further check-ins. This is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If any further check-ins, please call now. All right, no further check-ins. We're back to KD2 TQS. Ken.
TQS, nothing further. Back to that.
Good point, YT. All right, very good. And we're down to Bill, KD2UEN.
Yeah, I got all my answers tonight, thanks to you and Ken, and this is a wealth of information that you get on these nets, and especially this one here. Gardening in the outdoors is one of my favorite things, and always enjoyed eating off the land too, if you can. And it's pretty exciting when you find something new about something that maybe you've been doing for a while and really never put it all together. So thank you for that. And back to you, CJ.
All right, very good, Bill. Well, I'm glad you're learning something here, and I'm glad you appreciate the information. I'm glad to share that information. And I don't know if I've mentioned it to you before. I think I have. I have a YouTube channel, so we have lots of that type of information on there as well. And then back in August, I started a new show on Truth Frequency Radio, which is dedicated primarily to farming, gardening, and regenerative agriculture. So you can always check those out too if you're looking for more information or if you're thirsty for knowledge. I try my best to share good information on those. All right, let's roll on down to KD2UPY.
Yeah, I just tuned in. I heard about the pines, and I want to talk about them a little. I don't have anything else, but I'll tune in next week for sure. Back to you.
All right, very good. Well, glad you tuned in, glad you found us here, and glad you joined our conversation. And I guess we'll just do one last opportunity for check-ins, make sure we didn't miss anybody. And it sounds like everyone's exhausted their questions and conversations, so we'll probably just wrap it up. This is KD2IIN Net Control. If there's any further check-ins, last-minute check-ins, call now. Yeah, I've read that, Geeky. All right, looks like no further check-ins, so we're going to go ahead and wrap the net up at this time. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. This has been another session of the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net, brought to you by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. If you want to know more about our club, you can always visit our website at www.omarcclub.org. That's whiskey, 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 Oscar, Mike, Alpha, Romeo, Charlie, Charlie, Lima, Uniform, Bravo, Oscar, Romeo, Golf. Let's see, a couple announcements. Every day at 8:35 a.m. and 6:30 p.m., the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club has a net. It's the daily check-in net in the morning and in the evening. So don't miss those if you're looking to see what's going on in the Hudson Valley and see what the other people in the club and area are doing or up to. It's a nice sort of informal, well, it's formal but not super formal check-in net, and everybody just kind of talks about their day and stuff. Thursday nights at 8 p.m. is the Thursday Night Net. That's run by Dave, K2JLV. And that's a more topic-oriented net, mostly dedicated to amateur radio, computers, Raspberry Pis, DMR radio, and the like. So I hope you'll check that out as well. That's always an excellent conversation, and lots of people bring awesome information to that net as well. And then, of course, tonight is the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net at 9 p.m. on Sundays. We also stream this live via YouTube, and it's available later on. If you miss the net, you can go back and watch it on the channel here, the Pharmacy Seeds Network. Pharmacy is spelled F-A-R-M-A-C-Y, as in let food be thy medicine. All right, drop. That's it. This is KD2IN saying 7 threes. Thank you guys for joining the net, and we'll return this frequency to regular amateur use. Thanks to all those who participated, and I will be clear. 7 threes, everyone. Have a great evening, and thanks for joining. Got cacao powder stuck. Well, cacao stuck between my teeth. So look at that. We closed up early tonight. That's kind of a relief. I'm pretty sore. Leo, I don't remember seeing you in here. Welcome. Thanks for coming in. Wish the TechNet was online. Oh yeah, it is an excellent net. I wish there was an easy way to put that online, but Dave, who runs it, K2JLV, does not have a YouTube channel and is not familiar with YouTube streaming software. So the only way that I could put that online would be if I streamed it, which means I'd have to put another night into streaming, and I just really, I don't have the time for it. I'm pretty overloaded most of the time. I think I streamed 1 or 2 of those nets back in the springtime, YT, though. There's definitely a couple of samples of that net you could go back and check out. I gotta scroll back and catch up on the chat here a little bit. I'm making orange oil. I've been using orange oil to keep spiders away. Interesting. Oh, pill bugs. Huh. Not familiar with those. Aphids and spider mites. Oh, let's see. Thinking of building a small greenhouse box for the inside. Oh, awesome. That's always fun. I have a small greenhouse here, 24 by 12. I built back in 2014. And I just love going in there in the winter when it's cold and crappy out and being between warm plants and sitting near a fire. And before that, I actually had a couple of grow lights, and I would bring my plants in under grow lights. And man, is that an expensive way to do it. Yeah, Chris, my chest is killing me. I'm really sore. Yeah. Some folks say pill bugs, roly-polies eat potatoes, but I've never seen that issue here, and we have lots of roly-polies. Are those kind of, they're like a small kind of shiny sort of orangish colored bug? Is that what you're talking about, Geeky? Because I've seen them attack potatoes and tomatoes both, but they rarely do much damage. I have seen them go after sunflower leaves as well, if we're talking about the same bug. They're more of an annoyance than anything. They're not like the Colorado potato bug. So bugs. I don't know. Little gray armored bug, like an armadillo, but a 1/4 inch long. Oh, you don't mean the stink bugs. The brown marmorated stink bug, BMSB. Oh, roll up in a ball when threatened. Yeah, I don't think I've seen those here. Huh. Interesting. Well, that's one I'm glad I don't have. Roll up in a ball if you handle them. Yeah, no, I'm not familiar with those at all. Interesting. I don't think I've ever even heard of those. Crustaceans, Are they any good barbecued or sauteed? Okay, Geeky. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh, yeah. So, Geeky Gardens has an awesome channel, and he's had a bunch of feral cats he's trying to trap and bring to the SPCA to be neutered. I guess they neuter them for free down there to help control cat populations. He's got some awesome videos out on that recently. Geeky, I'm sorry I haven't gotten over to check those out yet, but things have just been a little wacky here. But he also has all sorts of gardening videos and stuff, and he has a little lab that he starts some of his peppers and tomato plants in. And his growing season is just starting because it's too darn hot down in Central Florida to grow anything much over the summer without a lot of irrigation. So definitely do check out Geeky's channel. Very cool channel. Geeky's a retired programmer and very nice gentleman with a great attitude about life and lots of knowledge. He's a fun guy, and he's been very supportive of my channel, so I appreciate that, Geeky. What am I doing for inflammation bruising? Ginger and turmeric primarily. Yeah, I actually went out to the greenhouse last night and picked some fresh ginger, and I've been nibbling on that a little bit. Last night I made some ginger, turmeric, holy basil, and lemon verbena tea, and I put some comfrey in it. The comfrey is really good for fast cell division and fast healing. And in fact, comfrey is also called bone set because it's so good at helping bones rebuild and re-stitch back together and rebuilding cartilage and those sort of tissues. And the injury that I have, I haven't been x-rayed, but what it feels like to me is a lot of, I don't know if it's torn necessarily, but very stretched, bruised, injured cartilage. For people who don't know, I went to move a plant the other night, and I basically did a CPR chest compression on my chest with probably 200 pounds of force right in the middle of my sternum, and it's really bruised and sore, so I'm just trying to take it easy now. Actually, I tried to split a couple of pieces of firewood tonight, and that really made it hurt, so I backed off and just shoved whole chunks in the stove, and I'll have to manage for now. But yeah, that's what I'm doing for it. Other than that, nothing spectacular. I wish I had some bone broth or even some bones to make bone broth with, because that's really good for healing those sort of things too. Yeah, that's true, Bomber. I don't know what rest is. No, I do rest, just not on most people's normal schedule, and so that puts me outside of that 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. super healing zone. But of course that's related to circadian rhythms, and that's a whole other complex conversation. Jarvis, I don't have any CBD solve, but I did pick up a CBD tea. So it's not great, but it'll help a little bit. I'm actually going to have that after this stream ends with the paranormal portal starts up. I might have a cup of coffee first, though. We'll see. Nettles might help if you sting yourself with them as well. Old method for arthritis. Not as fun a process is. Counter-irritant effect, the musculoskeletal pain. Yeah, I can manage the pain. I just want to be healing because obviously I can't be trucking heavy firewood and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that stinging nettle releases acetylcholine. And there's a bunch of other cool stuff. So again, back to the nettles. They're a very powerful tool. Yep, exactly, Bomber. Stop working, go to the beach, punch dolphins, have a great time. Okay, I gotta be clear, I'm not really a dolphin puncher. The beach sounds great. Minus the sand, I'll just take the sun and the salt water. And the heat. The heat would feel good. I did get out and get some sun today. That's another thing I'm doing, Titan. Lots of good sunlight exposure. Yeah, I'm not gonna go and get myself stung by bees. I'll deal with the pain. I'm not looking for additional stings, but yeah, that would help too. I really find the ginger and turmeric, especially fresh from the greenhouse, the stuff that's been grown in my high nutrition programs, is a really powerful tool for that. I broke a rib a couple of years ago. I fell off a log and landed on my rib and broke my rib, and all I took was the ginger and turmeric, and that was really powerful and effective. And of course, I combined that with healthy nutritional foods, and especially my mom actually bought me some bone broth concentrate from Sir Thrival, and within a month I was healed up. It was really hard to sleep the first couple weeks, though. It was pretty darn sore. Ice heat sits bath style. Oh yeah, a bath would be nice. No bathtub I'm getting in here. Shower's it. I guess I could go out and jump in the pool for a cold shock. That probably would do it a lot of good. Although I can also envision that cold, tightening feeling being a little painful at first. Go in the shower after the stinging stops and the nettle brings it back. Oh! Huh. I never tried that, but I know I used to get stung by stinging nettles trout fishing all along the east branch of the Delaware up in the Catskills, and I remember going back in the water. It made it sting again a little bit. Yeah, I wish I did too, Bomber, but yeah, I've got turmeric and ginger, and I've got lots of plant medicines around me, and it's a big part of why I grow the plants I grow. People come over, they think of me as like just some kind of commercial farmer somehow, and they don't really understand the whole picture, and it's like, why don't you grow 10,000 turmeric? Well, I can't fit that in my space, but to have some here, and when I get injured or sick, to be able to go to the greenhouse and grab it, boy, there's nothing like having your own medicine cabinet on hand, and you know where it came from, and you know it's not going to have a negative effect on your health. Have to train a Squatch to help me. Oh, that would be awesome, Titan. But you can't be like ornery or moody. Like I can't handle a Squatch tantrum. I'll put it that way. Got sun at the state of Ohio's roadkill dump. Never seen just thousands and thousands of skeletons. Wow, that must have been some sight, huh? Hot sauce, yeah. Maybe I'll go dig out one of those habanero peppers from the greenhouse. I don't know. We'll see. So far, so good. Let me see. I gotta pull up some other links here. I'm gonna try and beat Geeky to it tonight, but I probably won't. So it's not, doesn't have the that one up yet. So for those who don't know, there's a stream coming up called the Paranormal Portal. Actually, I think everybody here is a yeah. See, Geeky beat me to it. Thanks, Geeky. Anyway, for those who don't know, there's a Paranormal Portal that's coming up next at 10 p.m. That's an awesome stream. That's run by Brent Thomas, and we talk about all sorts of cool stuff. Well, Brent talks about all sorts of cool stuff, ghosts and Sasquatch and poltergeists and you name it. So please do check that out. Brent's an awesome host and runs a great show over there. So get that Mega 32.4 and slap some buttons on it for some USB macros. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and close the stream out here. I'm very appreciative that you guys came in and supported it. Glad to have the interaction in the chat. Titan, you're very welcome. I'm glad you learned something from it. I'm glad to share the information. I'll see you guys all over in the portal. And oh, Bomber, you're always cooking something killer up there. If I didn't hate the cold weather, I'd be up in Canada already after your food. Anyway, we'll see you guys all over at the Paranormal Portal. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're watching this later on. Thanks to everyone who supported the stream. We will see you guys in the portal. And where's my outro? outro transition.